Sorry about that, folks. Arena's still being a little temperamental when it comes to the network. So, crashed on me there. We timed out. Didn't get to take anything with the Thought Erasure, so just conceded that game. Keep this hand, looks good. So we'll play this one out. Don't know what we're against yet, so I probably just want to hit lands 4 to kind of go up to that. Also, Muchatomi, Lawsome, and Warlock, thanks for the follows. So Erebos is probably the play here, but I could see Atris going. This likely is a kind of Dimir control deck, so dealing with like our continual card advantage will be something. Again, those are tuning back. Sorry about that. We got Arena disconnected. So let's attack in first. They might have counters. I don't really know what this deck's doing. Yeah, sorry, Rock. So I usually find when I stream just the client, if you run about an hour or so, because of the memory leak issues, it tends to seize up like the computer's graphic card. Like I have a pretty high, like I have one of the newer i7s, 32 gigs RAM, solid state, like fairly high-end graphics card. So like I could run, we'll take the 2. It's more lands. So I could run pretty much like anything on the computer, but Arena for whatever reason likes to crash my computer. So Cry kind of sucks there. Okay, let's see what's happening on the opponent's side. Thought Distortion, Wilderness Reclamation, Assassin's Trophy. So I don't really care about this that much. I think we get rid of the Wreck. Actually, I don't even really care about the Wreck. Return target card from your graveyard to your hand. Now let's get rid of Wreck. Kind of regret not taking the Knight there. I still feel it's right. You take the pile of 2 most of the time. So this looks like some sort of Sultai Wilderness Reclamation control deck. So we'll see if they go Narset here. Okay, they go Wreck. So I'm just going to bounce the Wreck. Play out the Borrower as an offensive threat. That's actually nice against Narset. So I'd really like a Black Castle here. This is a matchup where they're not really threatening our life total. So if they try to kill, I bounce it with Tyrant Scorn back to my hand. So it fizzles their spell and then gives us the Petty Theft ability again. You don't exile, you just minus XX. And then we still have enough mana to bounce the Wilderness Reclamation. Let's just do this now in case they have a counter spell. Because their turn will likely be play out the wreck again. It doesn't matter. Just play this out. It's probably going to die anyways. I just want to try to get an attack here. And they may opt to just do this now, if in case we have some more disruption. That's fine. Perfect. Castle's what we wanted. Just pass the turn. We may be able to like surprise Gary them. Like this Thought Distortion's not going to do much against us. Before they untap, we'll kill it. Okay, they have Ashiok. That's scary. So they shock in. Let's get rid of Narset. Interesting. So they float mana. Oh, they just insight. So it's like Chemister's Reclamation Control. Thassa. That's a nice one to have. So if I go Thassa here, I think we just go Murderous Rider and then hold up Rider. Or do I do Thassa, bounce the Fblthp, get another card? They Ashiok, bounce it to my hand. Yeah, let's play out Thassa. I want to answer this. Nightmare Shepherd's pretty good too. Okay, so they go Narset. Probably just gonna draw a card, to be honest, if they don't play out anything. They're probably just gonna beat us through attrition, so the extra life would be beneficial to use. Okay, so they have Thassa's Intervention. They might Chemisters on flashback here. So let's poke into Narset for 1. That way if they want to keep her around, if they want to activate her, they got to kill her. Do we just start Gary draining? Okay, so this can be counter unless they pay X. So I kind of want to get that card out of their hand. Probably just another black source. So Nightmare Shepherd. just play this out. I want them to get the counterspell out of their hand. This is enough of a threat that might warrant it for them. I could get Gary down, but Gary's likely to be countered. Or I don't want it to be countered. Narset's also a little annoying here because it will shut off Fblthp's card draw ability. So this is one of the times we want one of the discard effects, because then we could keep bouncing the discard. This could be a removal spell. I'm fine with that. Draw your cards. Don't counter my stuff. It's probably pretty hard for us in this deck to turn on Thassa. It's really just used to get extra value out of our ETB stuff. Play Ashiok. Perfect. Let's see if they go with the bounce here. You need to die in fire. Get rid of the Watery Grave. So opponent knows we have Grey Merchant. They take the Thassa or Grey Merchant? Probably Thassa. The metagame challenge is basically, think of it as the most spiky tryhard tournament. So you pay to enter. If you get 7 wins before you get 1 loss, or I think you could go 7-1, you win like a whole bunch of packs. So it's like very high risk, high reward. You have to use your own cards. I generally am not a fan, just because it's very high variance. Like that first game that we played with this deck, we ran into mono red and we didn't draw mana out well. Like we just got magicked. So it's not really a fault of the deck. Like we've shown in the other games, we're able to grind with this deck. But if you, in 3 games, mull to 1 card, or like mull because you have 1 land, it doesn't really help. That's fine. Get this out of their hand. So they can likely have Cryocarnarium. Ritual of Soot wipes this board, so I'm just going to hold off. Like when they had that other one where it was like the free preview week where you got to play with all the cards, and then if you went like 10-0, you won like the entire set of the new set. That one was fun because it was kind of free to play and you got to use the cards. So there wasn't really like a cost commitment, but I think it's like 2,000 or like it's a fairly steep. It's like 400 gems, so like half a draft to potentially lose in 1 game. It also makes like content kind of high variance. That's something I could stream for 5 minutes or I could stream for 2 hours, and it's really just dependent on how we draw. Yesterday I lost to a Gates deck and it felt both humbling as of someone who's loved Gates, but also somewhat embarrassing. You got a counter, or you're going to take a lot. Let's So we're going to shock here so I can draw a card. If they have Cryocarnarium, it also lets us pump this out of range. Actually, we don't need to because it gets the counter. Opponent's at 31 cards in library. We're at 33. Narset comes down. How does this deck win other than Ashiok? They got a bunch of X spells. I imagine they have Tamiyo. Because they can't like explosion us. Hydroid Crisis can't really come down, take advantage of this. We're gonna find out. This might just be gain a lot of life, or Thassa's Intervention, like dig real deep in your deck. Sure. So we're gaining 4 a turn, taking 1 to draw an extra card. Just want that out of the way so we can draw in our main phase too. So like this turn I can't draw an extra card when we have a lot of mana. Ashiok could be nice. Because we know this Thought Distortion. They probably play Eat to Extinction though. Okay, so they Thassa's Intervention. Another counterspell out of their hand is good. But we have a lot of mana now, so we can pay into it fairly decently. 27 cards, 31. Maybe they play Fae of Wishes. Like you can win with Liliana, you can win with Garrick. You see my Watery Grave. They can also Chemisters again. So I'm not like super worried if this gets countered, only because we still have a clock, which is impactful. They've already gone through like 3 Erebos' interventions, I think. Yeah, 3. We're gaining 4 each turn, taking 1 to 2 damage off the extra card draw. Okay, don't know what the opponent might have clicked through the wilderness. So I'm going to attack first. This might prompt them to do something. Okay, so Thassa's Intervention can be 2 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 14. So I'm not countering that anyways. So let's just play out Ashiok first. Just create another threat here. I think we just passed the turn. I'd only have 3 mana up to cast something. And we have a number of 4 and 5 drops. That's frightening. So I don't want to play into like a discard effect. Triple Reclamation. Can we exile enough things from their graveyard? Or from their library? Thassa sweet. Ooh, and we got Gary. So they'll likely be inclined to block one of the 2-power because it keeps Ashiok alive. What did they hit from us? Atris? No. Knight and Watery Grave. What did we hit from them? Ritual. Do we lead with Gary? I think we lead with Gary. I think Thassa is more impactful right now on our board. It lets us draw some cards. They let Grey Merchant resolve. Do you not have a counter? Ah, they had the counter. But we had enough mana. Gary gets him for another 6. So in retrospect, we could have attacked them, but there was probably a fairly high likelihood that they could have just killed one of our things. This turn, it's going all at the opponent. I think we got him. Unless they have the 4th Erebos intervention. This card's been sitting in their hand since the opener. Okay, so it looks like they're trying to dump to be able to Castle Locthwain. Doesn't do much. Actually, Castle with like Reclamation sounds really sweet, especially when you're gaining a bunch of life from what's it called? Erebos' intervention. I really like Reclamation decks, but they have a pretty high like punt of just you clicking through stuff. I like the Temur version better with Klothys because you also have the combo kill. Sweet. Opponent does the noble thing and sacks themselves out. So this deck's pretty sweet. If you enjoyed Dimir, this is something to maybe try out. Probably refine it a bit. I do like the mix of like discard and like pain. Atris is really strong. 10 discard effects. I might cut the Knights actually. They seem pretty lackluster in this build. Go up a couple Fblthps. And then probably another Erebos and another Grey Merchant. Another Ashiok. Kind of just play a bit bigger. Play tapped on 2 and then go from there. Maybe even another Tyrant Scorn main. Just to have that interaction against the aggressive decks. But I'll probably tweak this one a bit more. I know Dimir is always a popular deck on the channel. So we'll take it from there. Thanks everyone for tuning in. I'll have both videos up on YouTube, the best of 3 and this best of 1 one. If you enjoyed the content and you'd like to see more, I've been playing a bunch of Theros decks on my stream. Everything's on my YouTube channel, MTG_Joe. We've ranked up to 889 Mythic, primarily with Best of 1 Doom Foretold that we played the other day. So another Ashiok deck if you like. And then most of my ranking up has been with my mono black deck. So we've had a couple iterations from there. But gonna wrap this one up. Have a good one, everyone. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll try to do another video tomorrow. We might have to play some ranked matches tomorrow, depending on how far we fall. Trying to hold out as much as possible. Yeah, even in the minute we dropped another rank, so we'll see. I don't think this 890 is going to hold up for 6 days, but we can take it from there. Have a good weekend, everyone, and we'll catch you next time.